Hi. Oh my God, look at me. 2 weeks in a row, bitch. I am on a schedule now. Look at me, Mr. Consistency. I am wearing a little graphic tee that I got with some friends. It's my favorite bar, El Carmen. So it's so funny. So me and my friend Maddie a couple summers ago, we would go, and all of our favorite places we would go and like buy their t-shirts because we just wanted to have memories and whatever. And honestly, I didn't have any graphic tees and I needed some more just like casual shirts. Oh, this is my protein shake. Fun fact about me, I am a man of many drinks. So I have my water, I have my protein shake. God, I need to stop doing the filler words. I'm really sorry. And I'm gonna start trying to look at the camera. I'm gonna look you right in the fucking eyes from now on, okay? Because I watched my last video and I was like all over the place. So anyways, if I look a mess, it's because grandma, cover your ears. I just had sex and it was so nice. But he's one of my regulars that is on my roster. And I mean, I had sex like last week, but it just wasn't good. Oh, you guys. Okay, so anyways, the guy I just had sex with, let's call him like rugby guy, like rugby player. He's from Australia, and I don't know if he ever played rugby, but he definitely looks like a rugby player. But we've been hooking up for like a year. Nothing serious, very casual. I wouldn't date him or anything. But like he like has a kid in Australia, I guess, with like his best friend. I don't know. Like that already is just like, I don't want to deal with that. Like it sounds like a lot to me. Also, so I'm gonna fill you in on bartender guy. So okay, so he works at this bar that's like walking distance from my house. Okay, I've lived in this place for 3 years now, and I've been more in the past like 2-3 weeks than I've been in the last 3 fucking years, okay? I'm trying to find this man. He's so hot. Okay, I want to describe him, but I don't know. Like, I don't even know his last name, so like there's no way he would see this, but okay, he is from SoCal. Like his dad is from Southern California and his mom is French. And that, like, I can't even describe. Like, just put that like in your head. Like, compute that yourself and think of like what you assume this man to look like. He honestly looks more SoCal, but he grew up going to France every summer. And like all of his mom's side of the family are French. Like, that's his, like, I love culture. I love a cultured person. I want to see the fucking world. I hate, like, he looks like very, like, Southern California. Like, Jada is, like, obsessed with him, too. And she's like, he looks like 2003, like, Abercrombie model. Just I keep saying I want to date. Everyone asks me what my type is. I say Calvin Klein. And, well, he's Abercrombie. So, like, 2003 Abercrombie, which is basically Calvin Klein. So I got it with him, but I can't fucking find him. So I think I want to go back tonight. I don't know. I was there last night, but also like the other bartender, like they obviously at this point, they're like starting to get to know me, but I don't know. They just think I'm a local, I guess. I'm sure that I haven't like brought him up at all. So it's not like they know like, oh, this guy keeps coming in to like look for so-and-so. So that's fine, but I actually I keep going in to look for so-and-so and I cannot find him. Like how did I get him twice in 1 week, like 2 weeks ago? And now I've been like 4 times and I can't fucking find him. So I don't know. I guess if I show up, he wouldn't know that I've been there literally 5 times trying to find him. And I guess, whatever. I don't know. You guys tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. This is going to be another one of those videos. This video, I am going to talk about how I was raised and how I grew up and the environment that I was in. This part of the video is just not coming out right. I've tried filming it a few times and maybe there's just no easy way to do this. I'm trying to really connect, and I want to show the emotions that I have from this time of my life, but at the same time it's really hard to, because I've been pretty much healed from it. It's been 9 years since I've moved away and I've experienced anything like this. So it's kind of difficult to tap back into it, and I don't really ever tap back into it unless it's with my friends that I meet. And this is like crazy to me, but like I'll meet people and somehow it'll get brought up, or I'll tell, it's kind of like my fun fact, I guess, that I'll be like, oh yeah, like I was bullied like all the time, like every single day growing up from 3rd grade till I was 18 and I moved away. And people are just really shocked by it, and they just are like, what? Like, I can't imagine, like you probably were like Mr. Popular and like homecoming king. Like I can't imagine anyone would bully you. Like what would they talk about you about? Like, you're so awesome, Colton. And it just really, when I have those conversations, it reminds me that, you know, you never really know what people are going through or what people have been through. And maybe on the outside I look like I've never been, you know, harassed or been put through any bullying, but it was a big part of my life, and especially my childhood. So it's important to me that I share things that have happened to me and be vulnerable. And if anyone, little boy out there, happens to find this video or is going through something, or, you know, unfortunately lives in a bad part of the country where they are experiencing a lot of bullying, this can help. Or anyways, I don't know. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything. Like I said, I just want to share my story, and if it helps, it helps, whatever. I'm not in therapy right now, so this is me able to just vent and get things off. When I started doing my YouTube channel, I knew ultimately one day I probably was going to talk about this topic. So it's wild that the day is here, but yeah. So like I said, I've been bullied every day since 3rd grade to 8th, or when I was 18 years old. I was in dance and gymnastics growing up, so I was called gay, a girl, every homo slur ever, the F word, everything. Yeah, it was really a lot for me to experience, but something that I have an issue with is really how complacent the people around me were with it. I feel like the teachers, the adults, the parents, the students, the friends that I had, everyone for some reason just really didn't do anything about it. And that's also something that I want to share my story to hopefully wake people up and turn on that fucking switch in your brain that reminds yourself that you're an adult and that this is not normal behavior. If you're being bullied right now, I promise you that there's something wrong with these people. There's nothing wrong with you, and you're just trying to live your life and go to school and not be harassed and terrorized. But unfortunately, studies show, I have experiences I'll get into, but the people that are harassing you and doing this type of behavior, there's something going on with them in their own personal life. And unfortunately, it's really, really, really unfortunate that you just have to be on the receiving end of it. But there's some part of the way that I grew up and like the culture of the town. I'm from Western Iowa, and there's something about the area that I grew up where people are just very complacent with being disrespected. They're okay with seeing disrespect happen. They're okay doing the disrespect, and unfortunately, people are okay receiving the disrespect. I really had no choice growing up but to go to school every day and just hope that it would be a good day, that kids wouldn't be mean to me, I wouldn't be picked on. And it really shocks me because there was a lot of adults in this situation who were not only engaging in the disrespect towards me, a child, or were seeing it happen, whether it be in the classroom or outside of the classroom, and no one ever thought to be a fucking adult and to take care of a child in that situation. So I have to say that honestly, my bullying went all the way up, and like I said, till I graduated high school and everything, and it just was constant. Like, it was just always something with me that it was like, Colton, gay, or like Colton's in dance, gay, or there's Colton, girl, like feminine, he acts like a girl. Like I said in my last video, like, I always was around women. Like, I never had any man figure in my life. I had a shit ass stepdad. I barely saw my real dad, and I had no male friends. Everyone was mean to me. I have all women in my family. I have no men surrounding me. So yeah, I never had a masculine figure in my life at all. And that's just the reality of it. So going back to the teachers, I just have a really hard time that these teachers who signed up to be in children's lives and to educate and to be a safe space for them and to be a person in power, to set morals, to set standards, to create safe places in their classrooms, I feel like I was completely left out of all of those possibilities. I never felt comfortable one day going to school, ever growing up. There's not one, I can't even remember. I mean, when I'm in third grade, I was like 8 or 9 years old. Like, I've never felt safe. I've never felt comfortable. And later, now that I'm an adult, I'm on anxiety medication and an antidepressant, which when I was talking to my psychiatrist, I've learned that my entire life I have had anxiety and I had no idea. I would grow up being so traumatized to go to the restroom, the men's restroom, and, use a urinal because I didn't know if the kid at the urinal next to me was going to say like, oh, Colton looked at me weird, or shit like that. And it's literally things that's still something that I have issue with, or I feel uncomfortable with in my adult life. And when I was growing up, like, I'm very much the same energy and the same person I am today. I think I'm very bubbly, big smile. I'm very optimistic, and I just like to smile and have fun and whatever. And I'm not saying I was a perfect kid. I definitely had a mouth on me where I would talk back, but at the same time, it's like, well, I was being fucking terrorized all the time, and I was skinny, and what else was I gonna do? Like, I'm not gonna beat you up, so I just had to be quick with my words. And so I feel like it was any stranger could have walked into the classrooms that I had growing up and saw the district, or could have understood probably the dynamics just from reading the room. Okay, they could have definitely told you probably the kids that were getting picked on. If you lined us up stereotypically or whatever, you could have probably said. I was also, let's just say, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, I'm just saying, like, this is definitely probably the situation that I was in. So I was the cutest kid probably in my school, cutest boy, and that was a target for me because I always stood out. I was probably the pretty boy. I only had girlfriends. I was in dance and gymnastics, and I was flamboyant. I spoke out. I was funny. I had a personality. I wasn't like other kids. I wasn't into farming. I wasn't into anything. And it really is funny to me because I feel like I would get picked on so much for those things of why I didn't fit in, and it just made me even more stand out. It was like, well, you keep harassing me, like, of course I'm not gonna go that direction. Like, I'm gonna go further away from you. So it's just always funny because I'm like, I always stood out, and like, no matter what, I was going to do something different because I just never fit in. No, and they never made me fit in. They never made me feel welcome to fit in also. So, yeah. And I just have to say that I'm really, really irritated. There's a lot of times, you know, I would get home off the bus and my school, I'm from a town of 800 people, and my school was very close to my house, and it was like a 10-minute bus ride, and I would literally come home off the bus crying and have to go to my mom. And I wasn't also like a kid that cried a lot. I was pretty like strong. I would say I wouldn't cry at school ever, but if I got home, then I probably felt comfortable that I could like go to my mom and cry. And there was a couple times that I actually came home crying to my mom that I remember. I think a lot of times I would come home crying off the bus. And I remember one time it was like she drew the line. It was like a 10-minute bus ride, and I couldn't even have fucking peace on a bus when I'm like sitting by myself probably without being terrorized by these little shits. And my mom actually would like try calling the school, and you know, my mom really didn't do a whole lot about the situation, and that's something that I have to deal with and I have my own issues with. But talking about being complacent, this is part of the things, you know, I think my mom was just like comfortable like that this was happening to me, which is like really fucking pathetic. And you know, my mom would call the school and things just would not be done. The school wasn't doing anything about it. And it was really just upsetting because they had someone in their school system that was honestly terrified to go to school every single day. And I don't think it is appropriate for any student to feel that way, no matter what, at all. You know, school is supposed to be a safe space. I understand that kids will be kids and there's going to be some picking and teasing here and there, but systematic bullying every single day is just fucking disgusting. And like I said, the writing was on the wall with me. Everyone knew it was happening to me, but yet all of you stood around and did nothing and just let me not only handle everything on my own, but I'd have to be an adult because there'd be adults coming after me, telling me things, harassing me. I would even have family members as I got older. I've overheard family members talking negatively about me or trying to be derogatory towards me, and no one did anything about it. I even told my dad one time and he completely ignored me or acted like it wasn't happening. Just basically said I was like lying and like didn't believe me. So it's just really, really fucking irritating that for some reason, I don't know what the fuck is in the water over there, that everyone's okay with just being disrespected and no one has the balls to get up and say anything and do anything about it. And yet someone like me who was outspoken and told the truth and, you know, put people in their place, that I am also the one, you know, being bullied and being put down all the time. So yeah. I'll just talk about a couple instances. I remember, you know, so a lot of the times when I was younger, you know, there was a few kids, it was just happening all the time. And I don't even want to get into details, whatever, but a lot of the boys that were doing this to me would try to do, you know, sexual acts with me as well. They tried kissing me. They would try, I don't even know, like, I don't want to get into details, but yeah, like on bus rides would be inappropriate with me. Texting inappropriate would, you know, whenever we're at birthday parties, be all over me or be kissing me and trying to touch me or trying to get me to touch them. And it just shocked me because I was like, how the fuck am I sitting here? Like receiving all this bullying, yet all of you guys are the ones going around and like doing all this shit to me. I mean, I remember too, we were at this kid named Cole, I'll call him out, I don't fucking care, Cole Schultz. We're at his birthday party in like, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade or something. And we were sitting in a circle and it was, we were playing a game of, like you had to say, it was like a group of, the boys obviously. And we had to say, a guy in your grade that you would kiss and a girl in our grade that you would kiss. And all of the boys said me. And it didn't click for me in that moment because I obviously was like 10 years old. But as I'm older, I'm just like, oh my God, the writing was just so like on the wall with these kids. Like, I just can't, like, let it be more known. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, and then I'll tell you that a lot of the boys have since, that I've been, so any little boy, whatever, going through anything like this, I hope to God you're not. But if you are, just wait till you get older because they will come back in your life. They'll try talking to you. They'll try sending you messages and the writing will just be on the wall that they're into you. If anyone's being weird to you, calling you gay or whatever, there's definitely an underlying gayness about them that they're probably not accepting and they have an issue with. It's just so disgusting because I talked about this on the podcast too, but like I was being mistreated by adults. Like adults would call me and family members would call me like slurs, which is crazy. Like as a child, that's what I'm like, why? How fucking disgusting were you guys to be sexualizing me as a child? You're fucking weird and disgusting. Like, why the fuck are you thinking about who I am having sex with or who I would be having sex with and I'm a little boy? That's fucking weird. And a lot of the times, like, people don't even know what they're into. Like, kids don't even know. Like, they're just, you know, like, you're not thinking, a little 10-year-old boy is not thinking about sex, I don't think. Or, you know, like, you're not, I mean, I don't know. At least I don't think I was. You know, I don't think that happens till, like, you're older and, like, I don't know, puberty and stuff, maybe. But, yeah, just very, very shocking when you get older just to see how everything turns around. But I have a real problem. You know, there was a time when I was home a couple years ago and I walked past one of the tables on the golf course and there was a group of teachers that I had growing up in elementary and middle school and they were just like, oh, Colton, yada yada. And I just could not fucking, like, I could not even look them in the eye because I had already started going through all of this, you know, deprogramming of like what the fuck I just went through. And just to see all of them talking to me and I was just sitting there. My issue is that I look at pictures of me when I was little and I'm like so cute. Like I have like the biggest smile. Like I just cannot imagine anyone being mean to me or like yelling at a little kid or like seeing other kids yell and like saying mean things to me. I'm just like, where the fuck was any of the adults with a brain? Because no one had a brain in any of these situations that I had. And when I saw these teachers years later, I was just looking at them like, how fucking disgusting are you? I just wanted to be like, I hope to God by now something turned on in your fucking head where you know how to be a teacher, you understood the job that you signed up for, and you would never let a child who was in a position that I was in go to school every day being harassed. I didn't say that, but that's exactly what I was thinking because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, teachers know exactly what the fuck they're getting into, and I'm not saying anyone's perfect, but there was not even an effort made to make sure that I was safe or that I was being handled with care around other kids. There just wasn't. There was no like game plan at all. Like I said, my mom would call the school and just nothing would be done. And I just hope, I don't know what it's like to be in the school system now. I hope that it's different. You know, there is a lot of, you know, outlets, I think, for, you know, I don't know, just like different hopefully people are a lot more cultured now and are a lot more open-minded, because in media there is a lot more diversity. So I'm hoping that, you know, people and kids really have grown and matured at least a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I understand that, you know, social media is a big thing now. And obviously when I was, you know, Facebook came around when I was like in 7th grade, and then through high school, I was being harassed all the time on social media. You know, not only was I dealing with it in the locker or in the hallway or outside of school or in a classroom, I was getting it online as well. And it was constant all the fucking time. So, something that, you know, this isn't something that I take lightly. You know, I'm not talking about an instance where, you know, I was picked on here and there. I think I've made it clear that this is something that I was experiencing systematic bullying every single day of my life. I was being yelled at, picked on, pushed around, everything in the book. And, you know, when I said I look back at little Colton, and I can't imagine anyone being mean to him. I cannot fathom, like, standing around and seeing anything happen to him. And I just have to say that I am really thankful that I did have a big heart and big visions for my future and my life. I was someone at 3 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. My mom has it written down in one of my books that I wanted to be a rock star, and I knew it since then. And I always was very clear on, you know, I could write an entire book about what I wanted to do in my life. My vision for my future has been so clear. And I just want to say that I am like really one in probably a million, hope, I don't know, you know, I'm just going off the top of my head, that probably has that experience. I'm very thankful that no matter how traumatic my everyday was, I was always being, you know, very mindful for the future. I always knew that I had a life outside of the craziness that I was living in. Because if I didn't have an outlet like a dance and gymnastics where I loved and I had so much fun, I don't want to get banned or flagged for saying this, but I would have probably been a suicidal statistic. I probably would have been a child that killed themselves, because that's how intense the bullying was for me growing up. And it really, I can't even imagine being a family or a child in a situation where you are being bullied and you don't have an outlet that gives you happiness, and, you know, you're not able to dream big and have that bright-eyedness towards the world. And yeah, I just can't imagine what, you know, I at least had some happiness, and I genuinely wasn't suffering from, you know, real depression. You know, I just always had my guard up, but I was always still like my personality, and I still was happy, even though on the inside I probably wasn't happy and I was probably drowning on the inside. At least I had these little pockets of happiness in my life, because like I said, if I didn't, I probably would have been another statistic like that. And it's fucking disgusting. And that's why, you know, I think it's so important that people need to speak up about something like this. The adults need to speak up and speak out against it and stop it from happening. And parents need to be proactive. My mom would call parents even, and they would act like their kid was an angel. And like, oh, well, my kid doesn't act like that. If you were raising a fucking terrorizing child, you know it. Like, you know what your child is capable of doing. And no parent is just calling your kid out for bullying if it's not happening. I'm sorry. Like, there's just no way. I would not be coming home from the school or the bus crying my eyes out if I wasn't being harassed. You know, it was whatever. I've already talked about it. So thank God I said that I was that I had an outlet, whatever. And, you know, it never got to a point where I had those thoughts. There was a lot of times, you know, like I said, that I was experiencing a lot. And, yeah, there was one teacher in particular. Like I said, I wouldn't really break down at school at all, but I remember there was one time in like middle school that I just fucking lost it. I don't know what triggered me, but I would never cry at school, especially when I got older. I never cried. Like I was so, like I said, used to it at that point that it was just normal for me. And there was one day where I went to my guidance counselor, Mrs. Bauer. Shout out to Mrs. Bauer, because she literally was my saving grace in this moment. No parent, no family member, no one in my life had ever actually taken the time and like acknowledged that this was happening to me. No teacher, I said, right? No family member. Yeah. No one had ever sat me down and like acknowledged that what was happening to me was wrong and fucking disgusting. And I just remember walking into Mrs. Bauer's office and I was sobbing, and I wrapped my arms around her and we just hugged, and I sobbed on her shoulder. And she just was so amazing and was just like, I don't know why they do this to you. Like, it's so sad. I'm so sorry. And she was just completely empathizing with me. And it was just really, it really was an amazing moment. And I know she knew everything was happening, because not only was she working in my school, but also she had a little boy who was also in gymnastics. And she could probably understand what, you know, I was an older, you know, maybe example of what her son had to go through, or she was seeing things that may be happening, you know, with a younger boy, or she was seeing, you know, so we had that relationship with each other. So it really shocks me that, you know, out of all my time, I had one educator actually open up her heart and really be there for me and acknowledge all of this craziness. And like I said, there was no family out, you know, reach out to me at all either. Like, I don't even know if my grandma knew that any of this was happening, or I know my mom did, but my mom also like never talked about it with me. And I think a lot of things that I would do later as I got older, you know, was because I was like looking for love. Like, I really wanted attention. Like, not only am I an Aries, but like I was really deprived of having like positive relationships. You know, for some, you know, where I'm from, like you're not told how to be a good friend. There's no good examples of, you know, outpouring, unconditional loved families that are so, you know, obsessed with their child and they just lift them up, and it's so amazing. Like, everyone is just fucking miserable. I don't know what is going on, but now that I'm older, I'm just like, why are you guys so sad? Like, and why are you so mean to people? Like, I can't remember really one family of friends that I had growing up that actually had great relationships with their parents, or their parents were actually raising them up and being nice to them and supporting them unconditionally. That's what I keep, as an adult, that word unconditional love is so strong to me, because it's like, no matter what, like, I love you and I know who you are as a person. You know, no one, you know, sat me down and, you know, would kind of, in a way, like baby you. Like, I never had that type of relationship with anyone. Just, you know, acknowledging me as an individual, like me as a person, you know, I'm a good person, and, you know, I, you know, have a good head on my shoulders. And it's really funny because I would after recital, I would get 2 weeks of the year where I actually was really excited because I would be in my dance and gymnastics recital. And I remember after we would dance or tumble or whatever, I would just get so many compliments because I actually was really good. And it was the first time that like I was being recognized for something that I was being terrorized for the other 50 fucking weeks of the year. And I just loved it. Like, I loved the attention and the compliments that people would give me. And I remember, I would always ask my mom, like, okay, what did this person say? Like, what did so-and-so say? Like, I just loved getting the attention and just the everything. I wanted to soak in it because it was so like, finally, like I'm being recognized and I love this. And this is what I want to do. I love being on stage and finally people are being nice to me about it. And even I would do the same thing with my mom for parent-teacher conferences. We would sit on the couch and I would just be like, okay, so what did this teacher say? What did this teacher say? Because I was just so used to being fucking beaten down all the time and told everything that I'm not, that I knew that I was, you know, a good kid, and I just wanted to hear it, and I never got to hear it. And yeah, I never got to hear it growing up either because, like I said, I think my mom was also, I don't want to get into like, I don't want to like air out people's businesses because it is their business, but part of my story is also, you know, how I grew up in the household. And I think that, you know, my mom wasn't perfect, especially how the way, you know, she was handling my bullying situation, but something that really affected me. And like I said, like wanting attention and wanting to be loved is, you know, when my parents were never married, but they separated, you know, when I was around like 1 or 2. And then when I was 3, my mom had a boyfriend come into our lives. And this man would stay in our life and become my stepdad and then later be the father of my sister. And they ended up getting divorced when I was 18. And I have a lot of resentment towards this part of my life, or the people in my life at this point, because like I said, for some reason, like people are just okay with being disrespected and being in negative environments and relationships. And that's actually what was happening in my home life. And my mom's marriage with my stepdad was just disgusting and filthy. There was no love there. And I think it was very apparent that when this individual came into my life when I was 3 years old, that he had no intentions of being a stepfather to me. And that's something that I have a real issue with my mom, and letting someone into my life. You know, I wasn't 18 years old and I wasn't going to be, you know, out of the house. You know, this is something, you know, when you're bringing in another relationship into a house with children, especially younger children, you know, you're looking for an actual parental figure. You know, this isn't just like a boyfriend. This is like, I have a 3-year-old that I'm looking for a father figure because he has the rest of his life to grow up. And I need to make sure that I am choosing a boyfriend or marrying someone who is sharing that same parental morals and guidance that I also have and I'm going to instill in my child. You know, this is signing up for a full-time job. And my stepdad completely hated me, did not like me, and would, I'm sure, talk negatively about me, and wouldn't pay for my groceries. We would be at the grocery store and he would tell me that, you know, I'm a little kid, that he wasn't going to pay for my groceries and that my mom had to pay for me and I would have to put all my stuff in her cart. He would never give me lunch money. everything that I needed. It wasn't his responsibility. And I just can't imagine, like I say, when I look back at a little Colton, that anyone, let alone an adult, would look at me like that. With just so much hatred in their heart. Because it feels really personal. Sorry. It feels really personal. Especially with the little kid. Like, I don't know what was going on in their relationship or their marriage, but to be taking it out and to make a child feel completely worthless and less than, it's just really disgusting. And I just felt like I had no safe space anywhere. There was another time when we were at Disney World, and I had my cart of food, and he wouldn't pay for it. We would go to the checkout, and he was like, I'm not fucking paying for your food. Like, you need to go ask your mother. And he would always say that I wasn't his kid. And I'm just like shocked, because a lot of this was happening in front of my mom. And my mom knew that all of this was happening. And she just did nothing about it and wouldn't leave him. And ultimately, I feel like my happiness was jeopardized because she wanted to stay with a man. And I think that's so filthy that my childhood had to be jeopardized because of that. That I wasn't worthy of being a happy kid in any way. I was always picked on, and no one was treating me with respect. I guess I don't know how to end this. No, I think that's it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's my story. And that's all I have for today. I'll see you guys next week. And yeah.